Pina Shalada.
Got
Here
it.
we
Got
go.
it.
And we got it tonight. Are you ready to get covered in film? Because we're coming right now. You lucky, lucky bastards. We watched The Kingdom. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 1979's Monty Python Life of Brian. That's what we watched. Oh,
I
well,
watched The Kingdom
Wait, was that what we
like
were supposed to
several
watch?
months ago.
it was Life of Brian. Yeah, did you watch The Kingdom? No, we said
I
we weren't going to
watched
watch
I
The
watched
Kingdom.
Michael Keaton's Life. I
Oh,
fuck.
nice.
I watched Val.
Then I started watching Buster Keaton's life and realized, nope, we're all the way up into the talkies.
It's all about
Not
Brian.
since John Cleese wore blackface to be one of the three wise men coming into the manger has a movie had such an impact in people's lives. Uh, this movie puts me back to sitting on the couch with my brother watching it. The beginning, especially when she's telling them to go ahead and leave and thanks for the gold and frankincense, but don't worry so much about
Oh,
the
about
mirror
the
next
mirror.
time.
Yeah, the mirror. The
Yeah.
mirror was good.
And
That
then
was
they
funny.
come back. Yeah.
Then they come back. It's funny when you first watch that, it takes you a minute to figure out why they came back,
Right.
but it's pretty
Right.
great.
Yep. And that's actually based on biblical fact. Don't know if you guys know that, but Joseph and Mary, actually, Jesus didn't have anything to do with it yet. Joseph and Mary lived right on the edge of town, near to a town called Pricklefish. But the wise men weren't so good at maps, so they called him Jesus of Nazareth. I mean, Jesus of Pricklefish would not have been as good. Maybe ruined his whole career, whole thing. Russ, what's your relationship with God?
The book definitely wouldn't have been as popular.
Nope.
I mean, you want my honest opinion?
No, I want you to lie.
I've got
Yeah.
a chaos tattoo, which is the worshippers of Satan in the 40,000 universe. No,
Is it really Satan? It's not Satan.
no, it's like
probably an
devils.
aspect of Satan.
I don't know.
And he's got a Necron tattoo, which are,
yeah.
animated robots who transpose their soul to live forever.
Anyways, I
Wow.
really like made up things, but
So you like
my
God?
Also, why
relationship
don't you
with
like
God-
God?
So I was raised. Hey, that's
We just
not
ale-
okay.
We've just alienated
Hey,
everybody.
that's not okay.
I was raised Christian, and I went to the First Methodist Church for many, many years. And I was in
many
choir,
years.
and I went to Sunday school.
Sing us
and
a
I did
song.
all that shit. I
Sing
don't
us a
know.
hymn.
Hallelujah.
I was in
right.
I was in a play. I was in Daniel in the Lion's Den. I don't remember what part I played, but I know that I did it.
I was in a
front of all
play
these
and I
people
got
at
elf
church.
number 1. That was a crowning achievement of my elementary school days.
Nice.
I was actually also elf number 1 in 6th grade.
Did you do a voice?
Mhm.
Nobody cares. So that was Simon the Zealot Craigie coming out. And then we got Judas Morgan over here.
Judas.
Wait, what? My relationship
That's right.
with God? I had this punchline.
You
I
don't
was
get
in
to say
eighth
it.
grade. In 8th grade, I believed in God until 8th grade. And then this girl I liked, I told her that I was Christian or whatever. And she was like, really? You believe that some big guy invented the world in 7 days? And I said, yeah. But then I actually thought about it. And ever since then, I didn't believe in God.
Science has eroded faith in many, many corners. I've been to that realization for a long time. By the way, I'm Bartholomew Hanson. I wanted to ask, though.
Bartholomew.
That's right. I looked at the name of the 12 apostles: Simon the Zealot, Judas, Bartholomew. Nailed
How the
it.
fuck did I got fucking Judas?
Because it sounds the closest to Joe, and also you're going to betray me tonight.
It's true.
Dude,
Trainer.
this is not a surprise. This is not a surprise. You knew this was coming when you picked this fucking movie.
Yeah,
Here's
but
what I
no
want to
one
know
was
before we
really-
get to Joe just
no one was
shitting on
surprised
everything
about
good in the
Judas
world.
Where's my purse of fucking
Russ,
gold? I mean, if I'm
You got Joseph, you got Benjamin. Does Russell come from the Bible?
No.
it
No, it
does because
doesn't.
it
Does that
does
piss
it
you
no
off?
it does because
Does it?
when Jesus wiggles in his crib, it rustles.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
He
Joe,
was
why
in-
don't you
okay.
tell us why you hate this movie and you're rating it with an F?
I just looked it up.
I
I looked
almost
up
was not going
where
to do a
Russell
rating and a
comes
grading.
from.
I thought I'll go through the entire show, no rating or grading, but the fans demanded it. We've got a bit of mailbag coming up later, so stay tuned.
Nice.
But Joe, go ahead. Why do you hate comedy?
I don't hate comedy. I'm just not a fan of this comedy.
Mm.
As reprised in the Holy Grail episode, check it out. You know,
The one where you
come
had
on.
a ton of fun
I
talking about it. You
beat-
laughed
I
a lot
beat Ben.
and
Yeah,
won in
yeah.
trivia. That one, is that the one you're talking about? The one that you absolutely loved?
That one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
It's the only redeeming factor that's ever come out of this production group.
Whatever.
No, dude. I
You're
mean,
still
just
here.
dude. There's a fucking spaceship in the middle. Done. Mic drop. Mic drop. Like fucking. That's it. We're good. That's all I need to say. All I need to say.
It is pretty funny when that spaceship happens and you're like, wait, what's happening? Is he
Dude, they
It's
dropped
Absolutely
acid.
fucking nuts.
They
Yeah, for
dropped
real.
acid and fucking
real.
wrote that scene, and they were like,
Thank
"Yeah,
you,
no."
Terry Gilliam.
For some reason, this didn't end up on the cutting room floor,
But
it serves no purpose.
I honestly kind of thought when I first saw that, like, oh, is this a Scientology joke? But no, it's just we're on drugs or something.
That would have been better.
Yeah.
That would have been
Terry
relevant.
Gilliam definitely doing a little eyedropper of acid and being like, man, let's talk about some crazy shit. Dude, but I love the opening credits. Also Terry Gilliam and the song, The Babe Called Brian, gets stuck in my head so easy.
And to bring constructive criticism and not just shit talking, I just don't like the format. I get the thrust of what they're trying to do.
The thrust.
Sham. Nailed it. On brand. I might come around.
But I just don't like the delivery. I don't like the execution. It's not my bag of tea. Little British reference there.
Are you going full F? D minus?
I mean, you know, it's a fixture in the cinematic universe and in your guys' comedy reference.
Monty Python influenced generations of comedians and movie makers.
Still influencing, you know. And so to pay respects to the groundwork that they've laid, I'd be willing to give it a D plus.
Holy shit. For all the viewers out there, I just want them to know that our friend Joe we have like a group chat. The three of us, we participate in this little chat. And when we watch the movies, we always say like, oh, I'm getting ready to watch the movie, or I'm watching the movie. For about an hour and a half, Ben and I had to read Joe every 10 to 15 minutes, say like, I can't believe I'm fucking watching this. Like, this is the worst fucking shit. Oh, 30 more minutes, 10 minutes. I can't. Oh,
11 minutes, I could do it.
Dude, it's easily in the top 10 events of my life that I made it through this whole fucking movie.
All of that. And he's like,
good Lord.
I could give it a D plus just because of all these other things. So I think this would be an F minus without that.
Yeah, like, could I give it a G?
If this was pre-COVID and we were like, let's just talk about a movie, you would just hate on The Babe Called Brian.
Yeah. No, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. It's a disjointed and unconnected
Go ahead
mess.
and save this entire show.
Okay, wait. I got a thing to say. I know I'm always long-winded, but Monty Python Holy Grail, that's like my Monty Python movie. And I don't remember the first time that I watched it, but I feel like this kind of movie you have to watch more than once. You got to actually watch it more than 3 times to really love it. And
I
I can
watched it 4.
remember, well, maybe you
Not all the
watched
way
it for.
through though.
You just got to keep going and keep
It
giving
it
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 a
played
real
all the
shot.
way through in the background.
And so my point of reference for why I believe this is because as I got older, I watched the movie Napoleon Dynamite, and I thought that it was the worst horseshit that ever grazed the earth. And then for some reason I watched it again, and then like I liked it a little bit. Like I started laughing, and
The
then
uncle is the best part of that movie.
well, and I saw it like another time, and I laughed kind of throughout the whole thing, and I didn't hate any part of it. And I feel like that's kind of this style, just ultimate stupid humor, and you
Absurdist.
are willing to forget anything that would normally annoy you. And the first time you watch these movies, you're just totally annoyed by them, unless you're young. And when I watched Holy Grail, I was young, loved it from start to finish, and then every time I watched it after that, it just got better. This movie for me, I didn't watch it as early as I watched Holy Grail. So I didn't love it as much, and I haven't watched it as many times. This time when I watched it, I laughed quite a bit. It was probably my favorite watch through of it, but like if it was my first watch, I would probably give it a C. All that shit that I said though, I'd say this movie's a solid B, and I give Holy Grail a solid A.
I don't
I
even
don't
know
know what I
why.
gave it
I
the
don't even
first
know
time
why
we
I'm
watched
here.
it.
I don't even know how we're friends.
I
So that
love
you
you,
can
man.
suggest waiting to sometime in the future. Uh, I I've seen this movie many times. I own a really great DVD version of it where there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Really great trivia on this. You know that just one of the things that's so fun about it is they were supposed to have this production group finance them for their 4 million EMI or something like that. And then finally they read the script. They were all in, good to go, never had any questions. And then somebody actually read the script and they're like, I can't put my name with this. Literally 3 days before they're getting on the plane to Tunisia, they're shut down. No, we're not financing. You're fucked. You're absolutely fucked. And who comes to the rescue but fucking George Harrison himself comes in, as he puts it, pawns his house, puts his house up for collateral, gives him the 4 million, all because he wanted to see the movie. He wanted whatever
Of
they're gonna make.
George
It's
Harrison of Beatles fame.
That's
Right.
correct. It's the last chance that he figures it's the last Monty Python movie that's going to be made. I think he's correct in that, and he finances it. I've Monty Python Holy Grail definitely has a much higher place in my memory, but this has a lot of really special places. Watching it with my brother and watching him laugh and trying to figure out why he's laughing at the different parts, me laughing at my own stuff. I feel like in this watch through, I was really fucking tired. I got to admit, I was really tired. It was kind of hard to get through it. The pacing was a bit slow, but there are parts that I'm like, all right, I can't wait. The Jesus doing the Sermon on the Mount, and they pull back, and the lady screams, "Speak up!" I find that to be a very well written joke. Can you even imagine attending the Sermon on the Mount and yeah, little side conversations on the side? Blessed are the meek. What the fuck is this guy talking about? Like the Romans came in and showed the meek what for. Uh,
No, that part was funny. I mean, like some of the commentary in the film, like for just for the record, the LOL rate for me on this movie was 0. But there were moments when it was like,
oh,
all right,
sorry, that was a
intellectually, I could see how that might be amusing, you know, and the way that they poke fun and really draw out the absurdity of structured religion
Mm-hmm.
is in its own way amusing. I just don't like the execution. Again, I got to come back to it. Like, I can't give too many props without bringing it back down to reality.
Right. You
But
just don't like funny things and joy. I would actually, with this watch through and the historical significance of it, I would honestly, I mean, I hate to say it, but C plus is probably as high as I'm going to go.
all
The pacing,
right,
you know,
y'all
there
giving me
is,
shit for a G plus. Y'all only a full grade above me. Fuck both of you.
hey,
Up
that's
the
a big
ass.
full grade. You know what? B plus. It's a B plus now, just to punish Joe for his insolence.
This movie is more than a
Definitely
C
good.
plus. And
I
I
feel like
mean,
this movie's almost educational in how it makes you think about how religion was made. Like, I would say this: it's just a simple story about a guy who was in a time when they were looking for the Messiah. He's mistaken for the Messiah. Joe, is that more or less plausible than Inception?
I fucking quit.
this movie is more than a C plus. It's way too good at what it's doing to be a C plus. There's not another movie that's come around and done the same thing. Like, period. Have you seen one?
No,
And
and I mean, come on, Joe, you got to admit,
it's
dude,
got
always look
balls.
on the
This
bright
movie
side
has
of life.
fucking balls.
Dude,
To-
are you kidding me? It's the cheesiest fucking outro I've ever seen in my fucking
Life's a
life.
piece of shit when you look at it. Dude,
Again, I'll say it. This is my overriding theme for my viewpoint on this movie. They're not wrong, and you have to be an educated viewer to even get 90% of the jabs that they're making. Like, you need to be versed in historical religion.
not even being educated. It's just
No,
like
but
knowing
exposed
you got to
little
know a
bit.
little bit about religion,
exposed to religion, and
or
A
at least
little
be
bit.
able to process how the correlations between what they're parodying versus what is a gigantic guiding force across the entire fucking world.
they did a great job keeping it even general, right? Like, so it wasn't just Christianity that they were lampooning. I mean,
Right.
they hit all of the major religions,
Scientology for the aliens.
that's a hot take that I've only ever heard of for Russ. But no, I mean, intellectually, yeah, I mean, they're out there. They're taking the jabs. They're swinging, unapologetic,
Aliens are out there.
groundbreaking for its time. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you just didn't do that kind of stuff.
This movie came out before I was born.
Right.
I know
Came
you
out
guys
a
were
year
like
after we were born.
3. So
One
year?
dick. I'm not that old, fucker.
One, you
Jesus
son of a
Christ, I
bitch.
swear to God.
That's
oh
I
my
quit.
god! I'm
Do
so
I see some
mean.
gray in your beard,
But-
old man? Huh?
Yeah.
Me?
Or did you just blow a
You won't
seal?
see it yet.
No, you just
All
blew a
right.
seal.
I gotta get at least 40 more for you to be able to see. But
We got, yeah, go ahead. What do you got? You're explaining something important.
I don't want to forget things before I we move on from the facts. If you were to say which one of the Monty Python movies came after this movie, which one would you think it was?
I don't think any of them came after this movie.
I thought this was the last one, but it might have been, and now for something completely different. No, it would have been
Nope, that was
Meaning of Life.
Oh,
Yep.
you're
Yeah,
right.
Meaning of
Something
Life.
completely different was the first Monty Python.
That's the first
movie,
one. Yeah,
actually.
yeah. I knew that. I own all the
Meaning
Monty
of Life
Python
was
show
the
on
last
DVDs. I know that.
Anyways, Ben, where was this show going? Joe, you suck.
The look on Joe's face. Worth watching on YouTube. If you guys are just listening, rewind 30 seconds and watch Joe have an absolute look of disgust at my fucking self-absorbed.
Hey, wait.
Oh my god, that was great.
I want to say
Sounds
I
great.
want to say one more thing before too much of this goes in this.
What you drinking there, Russ?
It's not. I don't know if I'd recommend these. They're michelada combo flavored different michelada modelos.
That sounds
Anyways.
fucking gross.
Well, I really like micheladas, so I thought they'd be good, but I wouldn't.
What's your thoughts on clamato?
I like it. I
Hmm.
like it. To the point that I was saying of movies that you need to watch more than once to like them, I feel like I would really enjoy watching History of the World again.
Mhm.
Or maybe I wouldn't really
guarantee it.
enjoy it, but I'd enjoy it more than I did that first time. And especially if like one of you was there. But hey, throwing it out to you, Mark. I know you loved my review of History of the World. So this is for you. This movie's a B to me. I hope you agree.
Dude,
Hope
he
you
just keeps
watch this
coming back.
episode.
You know what? Why don't we just cut to the chase where you guys just make it an A+ just to piss me off? Like let's
This
just
movie is an A+.
cut to the fucking
This
chase.
movie is
you
an
know
A+.
what I mean?
It's
Joe
really not.
sucks.
It's really not. It's
Because
got.
I'm gonna draw it back to even more reality and just how about what's the rate? What's the grade on this movie in the Monty Python verse? Right. So you got
Oh, it's an A plus.
Holy
Yep.
Grail.
That was my rating.
That's an A plus.
Holy Grail. No, but
No,
I'm saying
A
how does
plus.
this one rate? Right. Yeah. So
Right,
Holy
A
Grail,
plus.
history of the world.
A plus. Although it's not Monty Python, that's Mel Brooks.
Oh, you're right.
Totally right.
Never
Because
mind.
yeah,
I'm done.
they
I'm done.
actually they finally made a History of the World Part 2. It's out on Hulu. I won't watch it. You know, they talk about don't meet your heroes. Like I don't want to see them fuck up History of the World Part 1. The fact that he called it Part 1 was a funny joke enough. He did not need to make Part 2, although Mel Brooks, thank God you're still alive.
It
Thank
has
God.
a 73%.
Going to watch that's got to be like going to see Maverick.
Maverick with James Garner and Mel Gibson.
No, that's the good version
Oh,
of Maverick.
Oh, right,
Audience.
the Tom Cruise
Yeah,
Top Gun
yeah.
Maverick. No,
Top
Top
Gun
Gun Maverick
2.
was decent.
Top Gun 2.
We've got trivia about the movie kind of interspersed throughout the entire show. This is the spot where I ask the first one.
No.
Well, whoever wants to take it first, I'm not gonna dictate because I'm fucking sick of it. What's the hardest part of living in that short period between BC and AD? What do you miss the most? Is it Mountain Dew? Is it a nice cold soda pop?
No,
No.
I think it's toilets that flush.
Well, no, because they had lead infused water and plumbing. The Roman Empire brought that to.
No, they
To the
did not
world.
have toilets that flushed. I would want toilets that flush.
Right, you
I
don't have
agree.
those. So you think that's the hardest
Modern.
part, not having a toilet with clean water?
I mean,
Now,
so
penicillin.
like,
Penicillin. Right?
sometimes
Like
Pretty big,
not
right?
dying from
Pretty
a
big.
scratch. Yeah,
Right?
Would be
Yep.
cool.
You don't break your
Sometimes-
ankle and everybody's like, oh, fuck, we might as well take him out. He's done.
Right.
We're not going to let him not walk around and help us. Like, who's going to look after him? Oh, the ugliest girl in the village needs a husband. Let's make it happen. And then even she's like, fuck that, not an invalid. It's the classism, I think, is the worst.
classism. Get over yourself, you prick.
Oh my God. All right. Mailbag. We had a letter with a question for Joe.
All right, here we go.
James Cameron sent me a nice little note again about how right I was about Avatar 2, but also wanted to know from Joe, what about this movie breaks down all your movie review experience so that you rate it so low?
I don't understand the question. What about breaks
James
down?
Cameron, he's a fucking
Well, I
nut,
mean-
am I right?
It's got a
That's
fucking
James Cameron.
spaceship in it. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's just like that's the default. It's got a he falls off a tower and lands in a spaceship. There's a space battle. It gets the space. All right, so let's
It's
just talk
so
about
ridiculous.
the sci-fi aspect of this movie. I
You
want to talk
remember-
about the sci-fi aspect of this movie. All right, so he
Wait,
falls
wait.
through an open hatch into a spaceship that goes immediately into space. He doesn't just decompress and explode, right? So he's in the vacuum of space, but still just cool. The spaceship T-bones an asteroid. It just keeps flying.
Dude, I remember that part being like when we talked about Holy Grail, where it's like, did I watch the ending to this movie? I don't remember if I saw the ending to this movie. That part was like, am I watching the same movie? What just something's going on that doesn't uh originally joked by Eric Idle to call it Jesus Christ Lust for Glory. They decided not to go with that one. Pretty good idea. But I mentioned earlier, Python has influenced generations of comedians. Russ, I wanted to ask you. This movie has, I don't think, one fat person in it. How much does that make you enjoy it? Does that add a full letter grade?
No, no, there is a fat person. So at the when the two parties are preaching about his gourd,
Huh?
and then the other one's got his shoe, as
Mm-hmm.
those two parties leave, and then there's the other guy in the middle preaching, exiting screen left at the end. He's the last guy to leave the screen. Big old fat guy.
No wonder. No wonder he's the last
I
to
just
leave.
want to
that fat
point
ass.
out.
Wait, real question, Russ. I
just-
really want to hear your answer, but that's Spike Mulligan, the guy who the crowd parts, and he's left. The Pythons cite him as a source of inspiration. He was on a BBC show with Absurdist Comedy when they were growing up. That's a really great little cameo from one of their heroes, which not many people know about. Russ, what were you going to say about hating fat people?
Oh my God. That whole time you said, oh no, wait, Russ, that's not my real question. And then you just started rambling, and I was like, oh, I need to follow what he's saying because he's going to ask me a question about it. And I was having a really hard time going, what the hell is he talking about? And then you
like
said,
watching this movie.
yeah, and then you just threw it. You just came back to your mean, trying to make me look bad, hate fat people. You know what? Everyone should watch All Quiet on the Western Front. It's a great movie. I'll leave it at that.
Look at Russ.
Yeah.
He threw it back at you.
Click that button. Pardon me. Oh my God. We'll edit that out. We'll edit that out. Bloody
If there are fat people in movies,
dude,
they should be
like
shamed.
they should have done with. Oh damn.
when she's telling him that his father's a Roman, and he says, "You were raped." Well, yeah, at first. Dude, that's such a fucking funny line that they could not get out nowadays.
Oh,
But
not
so
even
they do
close.
it the same thing in Yellowbeard. Do you guys remember Yellowbeard at all? That's Graham Chapman as well. The fucking Madeline Kahn. You mean when I raped you?
What
we
do
were
you
having a
think
bit of a cuddle.
What do you think made them go, let's make a whole movie with no nudity, and then like, let's change the rating real quick. Let's
It's
let's
got
make
full
it
frontal
harder.
nude. It's got full frontal
Yeah.
male nudity.
Male
What are you
full frontal
talking
unit.
about it?
Which
In
is funny
79?
because
That's insane.
they didn't have to, they didn't have to edit that down. They didn't have to cut that out, but they did have to take out John Cleese calling him a cunt when he brings the Romans back to him. And they changed it to "you klutz." But they had to take out that "see you next Tuesday" in order to have it as you got to be 18 to watch this movie rather than this movie's not suitable for minors at all.
And I
Hey,
feel
you
like
know what
I feel like the scene with the guy who had the vow of silence and the juniper
yeah,
bush and all that.
You see
Right,
his
but
balls.
Right, but I
For
feel
sure.
like they definitely went back and did some hair flowing, for the other
Right, yep.
scenes, because they had to, but they got their full frontal male nudity in, dude, and it was rated R.
Yeah, what was the point
Yeah.
of that? You could have had way more paying customers if just
The point was what the point with that was the whole point with this entire troupe was what can we get on camera?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
What can we get people?
I think so, yeah, too.
You know,
Even the girl, the naked woman.
I mean,
Dude,
how much they
1979 was a different time. That was a big ass bush, and
That's a huge
so
bush.
That's,
her hair
yeah, for
was like
79, she
perfectly
was on
covered.
par.
Yeah,
On
right there.
par.
Right there with the
Didn't even
Playboy
look bad,
centerfolds.
honestly. Like that's not something I'm used to seeing these days. But I was like, "Man,
Wait, I want to go back to the question about what I couldn't deal with and living in that time frame.
Dude, why are you talking about old shit?
No personal grooming standards, right? Like I couldn't handle it, dude. My
Yeah, can
dating
you
life would
imagine
have
the
been
fucking
dead.
smell?
Dude,
Oh my god, the smell.
dude, you just didn't eat pussy back then. That just didn't happen.
No.
I
Or you
think
gotta fucking you get like
otter
a lip fucking all right.
otter noses. Otter noses is
You're right.
snacks. That would have
Wolf
been
snipples, they're lovely. Get them while they're hot.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Leopard's earlobes. 6 cast members in this movie played 40 different characters.
God
Russ,
John Cleese. I almost got tired of seeing John Cleese.
Michael Palin is definitely everywhere though, but he's my favorite Python. Anyway, Russ, how many roles do you play in your life, and which one's your favorite?
Probably hanging out with you guys.
Oh,
All right.
Like I don't know.
Gotta make all warm and cuddly.
I play the role with my wife, which I think is
husband.
probably
Yes, you play the role of husband.
The husband.
which I think is I mean, I don't even know. Is that my most true form? Maybe it's the one I want to be my most true form, but really it's when I'm drunk with my friends and I don't give a shit. It's with you guys and the guys at Trancas Steakhouse. Thank you to those guys as well.
Joe, we're
But
gonna
at
have to
work,
find
I've
these
got
guys and fuck them up.
I know, right?
Fuck this other crew.
I mean, at
Trancas
work, I've got a
Steakhouse.
very, very different.
Everybody
persona.
says they're a bitch.
Regulators.
If
Mount up.
like if we
Mount up.
if we ever
Just
make
talking
it,
about Young Guns the other day with my coworkers. I got coworkers that love movies. It's fucking awesome. Anyway,
if this show takes off and people start paying attention to it, it better be so popular that I don't have to work anymore because I won't be. That's how different my work life is than saying we're coming right now. But we got this.
when has that ever been said? What are you talking? Joe, what's your
Yeah.
favorite character in the movie? I know there aren't many, but out of all the different little characters they play, which one are you like, that guy's cool, that girl's funny?
Brian's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Brian's
love it.
mom.
I
Brian's
love
mom.
it.
That's funny.
I love it, dude.
That's funny. Those were the closest moments I had to an LOL. Like I actually had one because I was determined to have 0 LOLs. So when they get back to town because they were late for the stoning,
Right?
and
Dude, come on. The
she's
stoning
up,
when it's
I mean,
like, are there any men here?
Yeah, right.
Dude, when he just says
He did.
even if someone says Judas and they like crush him with a
Jehovah.
fucking
Yeah,
boulder.
Yeah.
Jehovah.
Jehovah,
I
sorry.
want to be
Good.
completely clear. That's one of my favorite John Cleese roles in the movie.
So, but for me, it was her at the top of the stairs. Come clean your room. Almost
Clean your room,
I almost giggled. I had to choke it back. I'm like, nope,
dude.
nope.
Whenever
You
his
can't
mom-
have it.
Ben and maybe Ben, you can tell me if it's the same character, but
It's not.
whenever his mom is on screen, I always just think of the Holy Grail character saying, "Well, I didn't vote for him," and just that whole scene about
Yeah, I mean, that's
having
Michael
an
Palin.
election.
Yeah,
And
that is the same guy. Yes,
Is
Terry
it?
Jones.
yeah.
Yes,
Is it also
Terry Jones?
He's the one responsible for the fucking spaceship. It's his fault.
No, that's Terry Gilliam.
Oh, damn it.
Terry Gilliam does all the different animations, directed 12 Monkeys, directed Brazil, is a fucking beautiful, crazy person. No, Terry Jones is the much more subdued. He was the director of this film, though.
Nah.
was
Nah.
Terry Gilliam and you're not going to be able to answer this, but I will give you major props if you can. Was
Sure.
he also the character in Holy Grail who's beating the water with a cat in the background on one?
Oh, in the Bring Out Your Dead?
Yeah.
Bring out your dead. Yeah, I think it is actually.
I think
I
it is
mean,
him, but
it could be for sure. I would say he's one of the two guards, which they kind of reprise the roles. The two guards in the tower that are Eric Idle and Terry Gilliam in Holy Grail are the two guards. He's mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got lumps of them round the back.
Yeah.
Though that's Terry Gilliam and Eric Idle again. I love the cut to them just having a normal conversation and they just talk to everybody else like that so that nobody will fucking bother them. I think that's a beautiful little piece.
All right. So real conversation for a second.
Real
I feel
talk.
like this
This is like
movie
the red table.
had some good moments and started well. Like, and
Uh-huh.
it's got some decent scenes, right? Like the whole friggin' the stoning. You know, the whole
Yeah.
opening sequence. The whole opening sequence is great.
Yes, agreed.
wait,
Until they get to the do you want to join the PLF or whatever it is, the LPF.
Why is that
or
bad?
Unfortunately, yeah,
JPL.
I'm with you. That conversation's really fun. The whole splitters and I call me Loretta, which I mean, in today's society,
Dude.
that little conversation more relevant than ever. Yeah, where's the fetus gonna gestate?
Dude,
In a
no,
box.
I was like, was this the beginning of the LGBTQIA GHGTDV movement?
Joe.
No, it was already happening by then.
Don't you
It's
say
already
that
going
on
on.
this show. We all support that.
Hey, we
Dude, it
support
was a
everybody.
question. I didn't specify an opinion.
That's
I just
too
said,
many
was
letters.
it? I mean,
we can
like,
hear the
to see
sarcasm in
this-
the amount of letters.
come on, because they add letters every year. It doesn't matter. You guys do you.
What's the latest
but
one?
you know, the conversation about
F.
pronouns. I thought the funny thing was the pronouns portion of that conversation. You know,
Right.
yeah. Well, him, her, they.
Pretty
It was like,
ahead of
well,
its
that was
time.
ahead of its time. Like that
yeah.
part of the conversation was
Like-
ahead of its time.
40 years ahead of its time, honestly. Like that was fucking,
Yeah.
I don't know, calling shit out.
Smart. Yeah. Doesn't matter what you wanted. All right. Let's go back to the mailbag. Let's check it out. So we've talked a lot about the alien ride tonight. Michael Bay actually sent in a beautiful thing saying that portion of this movie was what made him want to make films. He knew after watching that he had a career just making films that emulated the alien abduction portion. But Russ, he wanted to know what made you want to review them.
Review aliens?
Movies.
The side. Oh
Oh, you mean
why?
beyond this show?
Man, the questions from the mailbag are as confusing as the message of this movie. I don't know.
Wait till
Even
number
I'm
3.
lost.
Boy, wait till number 3. How about this? Another trivia question. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Oh, I couldn't. That would be hard for me to answer too. But I think coming back to your original question, what made me want to review movies? I really like my friends, and it was COVID, and I didn't have anything to do. And
We're like,
two
we
of my
tried this
friends were
twice.
like-
Come try it out.
Nice.
Let's talk about Mel Gibson.
Two of my
Down
friends
to
were
the
like,
left.
"Hey, you
Down to
want
the
to
left.
review The Patriot? Watch this homeless man talk about being in the snow." And I said, "I want to be part of that."
Yeah. Did you ever watch the Children of Men episode?
That's a good episode.
No, but I've
actually.
seen the cover art many times. You
Right.
look
Well,
really
yeah, it's
happy.
another homeless guy.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. I'm gonna delete those
Anyways.
fucking episodes. I'm gonna delete them.
Anyways,
They're gonna be
shot in
Patreon
Tunisia.
only.
Wait, I just
Shot
want to
in
know.
Tunisia. Okay,
No.
yeah, go ahead. You ask a question. You're hosting the fucking show.
It's true. Yeah, I am hosting this, and Joe, I want to know, what was it like living out of a van during COVID?
It was awesome. It was awesome. I had running water. You
Did
know, Heat.
Were you on Howell Mountain near a stream?
I was in the van down by the river.
Let
Okay,
me
Ben.
ask you something, Dad. Is that Bill Shakespeare over there?
Ask your real question,
It
Ben.
is. It is Bill Shakespeare.
My real question is, number one, how dare you? And number two, who do you think you are? No, what I really want to know is this movie being shot in Tunisia looked pretty great, but overall was probably pretty hot, pretty dirty. What's the least place you would like to visit in the world? What's the place you think would be the least fun to take a plane ride to?
Just take a plane ride too? You want to know about the plane ride or being there?
No, the
No, I want to know
location.
about
The
what
worst.
place
The
do you want to
worst.
show up to and say, this sucks, I want to go home. Why do
So-
I have to quantify everything? It's like you're my fucking coworkers or something. Jesus
Like you're
Christ,
my
take a
fucking
leap.
brother's kids or something.
Right? It's like we're doing
But-
a movie review show with my brother's kids. There it is. There it is.
I don't know. So I've watched a lot of Survivor Man, and I've watched it multiple times. And he goes into these harsh environments and he tries to survive. And honestly, for me, the one that you would think would not be that bad. It actually, you'd think like, yeah, I'd love to go there. And it ended up being horrible and I'd never want to experience it. I think was the Amazon because it was so humid that his feet he couldn't wear like socks or shoes. And everything was super wet.
Out already. I'm fucking out, dude. I'm just imagining being so hot that you're constantly sweating so bad you can't wear socks because it's gonna make your feet get fucked up.
Yeah,
Done.
he had major blisters on his feet. And then these but there's like these little huts everywhere. And he's like, I'll camp out in one of these huts that somebody left behind. And he goes in there, and these fucking ants that are enormous just start trying to kill him. So he can't stay in the hut. And so he leaves. And then a jaguar tries to kill him. And he just runs and he makes loud noises until he finds an Aboriginal tribe and he stays with them. And he's like, hey, I think a jaguar was trying to kill me. And they're like, oh, yeah, our hunting group was right behind you. And they found the jaguar, and it was hunting. It was trying to kill you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks
right.
for
No,
flushing
you're
it out,
definitely
dude.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
We're gonna have
definitely
a
right.
feast.
A jaguar was stalking you for sure. Yeah,
I just
yeah.
think like going somewhere and being like, oh, I'm going to fight ultimate heat or ultimate cold or ultimate island or whatever it is. All that, like, throw it at me. But I don't want to fight ants and toe hurt and jaguars all at the same time. It seems horrible. That place is trying to kill him.
Ants, toe hurt, jaguars. I get it. I get it. However,
Like walking across my living room.
I always figure the desert would have mechanics for a D&D game that would probably be pretty interesting, maybe not fun. It'd probably be annoying, and that's why you don't want to go to the desert. Joe, what's a terrain you've never run a character through in D&D that you think that'd be kind of fun?
I would take both of your guys' examples, rainforest and desert. You know, both of those would
Fun
be
in D&D, not in real life.
Oh, no, they'd be fantastic in D&D. The desert probably a little bit more of a grind, but at the same time in D&D, if you're going into a barren desert, it's a reason. And so it's all about the destination, not the journey. The journey's just the grind, you know.
We actually did a desert in Mike's campaign. Remember with the purple worms? We barely made it out alive.
No,
That was like the first one. We were all part of it.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
100%.
the more you moved through it, there was like a time warping thing or something like that.
Something weird. It was definitely before I killed an entire town. That was not the brightest, not the brightest druid. Anyway.
Yeah, that was a bad move for the group. It just didn't.
It was just like we're
It
so
just didn't
tired.
work
I
out.
was so tired of that shit. I was like, all right, I'm sick of this
but-
narrative you've got us on. It's ridiculous. Move it forward. I do exactly this thing.
But Ben, there was an android in a hot tub. Remind me.
No, it was an elf
No,
Elf.
whatever
in
it
a
was.
hot tub. That
Yep.
was, yeah,
That
maybe my
happened.
best D&D moment. Anyway, I wanted to say Lord of the
Drinking
Rings
ale and
extended
crushing
edition.
elf pussy.
That's right. Just absolutely. Being 3 years old, coming from security, that was my
Thrieve.
homeland.
He was Thrieve. I
Anyway,
remember. Wait a minute. Wait. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about that just for like 1 minute? Because I had played. I think it had been years since Ben played D&D, and he had never played Pathfinder. And I had played at least one game. Maybe it was 2. I don't know.
I miss
But
Pathfinder.
Ben
miss
and I
Pathfinder.
probably hadn't hung out in a while, and right before that we had kind of rekindled our friendship, and it was super fucking awesome. And I was like, Ben, do you want to come over and make your character? And
dangerous.
he said,
Yeah, you said the wrong things.
and he said, sure. And he came over. I don't even remember where he was living at that time, but come over to my house wasn't a short drive for him. It was a commitment. And he comes over, and I'm helping him make his character. And I'm like, what do you want your name to be? We're starting off with
serious.
name. The easiest thing. And he goes, Larry.
Shout out to John Gladstone. Yeah, shout out to John Gladstone. Gave me the idea. Was like, I'm going to be in a big fantasy epic. What am I going to name my character? Larry.
And I was like, really? And I'm trying to kind of spur some kind of, okay, well, this is where you get creative. And he go and no, we're not going to do that.
Hey,
And
but
then I'm
what
like,
was my cat's name? I was a druid. What was my cat's name?
no,
Aloysius.
Fucking
Aloysius.
Aloysius. Come on. Give me props.
But then you're supposed to pick where you're from. And so I'm like, okay, what's
Your
your
homeland.
homeland? And he goes, security. And I'm like, why did you even come over? You could have filled this out at home real easily.
All right, the background of this, just real quick. We're under 60 seconds. Russ and I worked at the same place. I would say it was probably my worst job. Russ will probably agree. Call center, and we would talk on a chat. This is why we got fired. But all we did all day was try to make each other laugh. That's literally in between the actual workload we were forced to carry. All I did with every day was thought, what crazy shit can I say to Russ to get him to laugh? We said the absolute worst shit and ended up getting terminated over
That's
it. That's
why they ended up terminating us, is because we just tried to help each other get through the day by saying outrageous stuff. I remember one time I posted this meme, and I can't even say it live right now. I didn't write it. Somebody else wrote it, and
I love the fact that
I copy and pasted it. And Ben, to this day, he knows what I'm talking about.
I love that Russ called Ben and said, "Are you still on your way to work?"
No, that was me. I called him.
Right,
I got to get
him.
read.
I
got to get read 2 sentences back that we said to each other, and I was like, "Oh, I'm getting fired. I know what's up. Do I need to sign anything? I'm out. Thank you. I'm gone. There's no way." Yeah.
Call Russ.
And I thought, do I let Russ experience that? Do I let Russ go in and get read like I don't know.
Worst shit you've ever written down.
Just the worst.
He totally,
just the worst.
He very much saved me from it. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, just the worst. Anyway, I've always wanted extended edition Lord of the Rings when they're going through the swamp. I've always thought like it'd be really fun to have somebody chasing you through the swamp with very small. Anyway, it's really lame now. Last question. Russell Brand, who is an intellectual comedian, sent an email in. He pointed out that it was interesting that the Pythons have gone on record saying they felt like they were at their peak with this movie.
What?
They wrote it. Yeah, they wrote it while they were in the Barbados. They felt like they had one voice, one vision. They knew the exact direction they wanted to go. The conditions to film it in were great, which if you know anything about Holy Grail, they were miserable the entire fucking time because of the weather. But they really thought they were on top. This not being their most acclaimed movie, gives some sort of validation of the fact that struggle and difficulty really enhance the art that is made from it. Would you guys agree that somebody experiencing difficulty can generally make more art, more deep art, for lack of a better term, because I've had too
Yeah,
many drinks?
no, I would agree. In fact, and I think it would be prevalent and present in this movie. You know, speaking of their funding issues, they show up, and the first half of the movie, it's
Great.
it's great. You know, like I watching the first half of the movie,
Way
I was
better
like,
than
all
you would
right,
assign
well,
a D plus to.
yeah. At the first half of the movie, I was like, all right, well, maybe this movie's not as bad as I remember. Maybe it's maybe it's been too long. Maybe and then they get past the halfway point, and you're like, oh, okay. So here's the point where they were like, oh yeah, no, the money's good. And now we have to film that space scene. So fuck it, it's a party. Yeah.
Really hate
Joe-
that space scene.
I feel
Dude,
I feel like
it breaks everything. It
we
breaks
just
the whole
recorded
movie.
we just recorded a review of Life of Brian for almost an hour, and the entire time Joe just talked about the space scene being so fucking shitty.
Dude, it
I
breaks
mean-
the whole fucking movie. It serves 0 point. It has zero like
Doesn't
if
even
if they
dispute
would
that.
have brought it back to where he crashed. Like, so I'll even admit this. As I'm watching it, I'm like, all right, I know these guys. They're gonna bring it around. We're gonna tie it in. This is gonna be nope. Nope.
Why would you say that? You
He
hated
just
the-
crashes and he jumps out, and some dude says, wow, that was crazy.
You
And
lucky
mob
bastard.
goes back to fucking chasing. Just skip it like it never happened. Like there's not fucking space debris in Jerusalem with alien bodies in it.
Nazareth.
Dude, do you
Nazareth.
remember?
Come on.
Dude. The
Be
Do
fuck.
you
sensitive.
remember
Jeez.
when
The fuck.
when Monty Python Holy Grail, which
Fuck
you've
this movie.
already reviewed, does the entire scene where it's like a drawing, and then at the end the artist has a heart attack, and so they just end the chase scene of the monster chasing them.
That is less movie breaking than the fucking spaceship. Dude.
Is it? It's.
Yes.
I think it's pretty much the exact same thing, because you're watching a normal movie, and then they just like, well, we're gonna insert this weird ass shit.
All right, so if they'd have tied it back to like if they'd have done all right, so in Holy Grail, they did a little tie back. They did a cut scene. All right, this is some dudes doing this. Like if they'd have done a cut scene and been like somebody freaking waking up the morning after and been like, dude, that acid was fucking hit. Then it would have fit.
No, it was actual aliens. Actual aliens. All right. Well, you're right. We're about at an hour, so I got only one more question. It's a trivia question. Let's see if you guys can rack your brains. In the 4 Monty
Movie makes me
Python feature
angry.
films, and now for something completely different: Holy Grail, Life of Brian, and what's the other one? Meaning of Life.
Meaning of life.
There's only one character that appears in all 4. Who is that character?
John Cleese, something, whatever John Cleese
No, that's
does.
an actor.
I know, but whatever he does, he's the answer.
Nope. You're actually
No.
wrong. Russ is Googling it. You are fucking disqualified. It's God. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. I have killed an entire notebook with covered in film, but I got Fallout notes in here too, sure, and a little bit of wine stuff. But next week, it's a new book. It's a new movie. It's a new look because Russ is shaving his head. Tune in.